Sup folders, so in today's video we're going to be covering all of Phase 4, we're going to do a folding recap, review, whatever you want to fold and call it. It's going to be everything from Phase 4, all 16 projects I believe, because Kevin Feige said at San Diego Comic-Con, let's fold and just release all the titles of Phase 5 and some of Phase 6. Let's just fold and do that, that's folding great. A different video I'm going to be covering Phase 5 and 6, my thoughts, everything. I'm folding excited, but let's talk about Phase 4 first. So if you do enjoy this video and you love the folding Marvel content on this folding channel, make sure to folding, boom, 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 pow, pow, boom, pow, boom, boom, pow, the folding like button, and the subscribe button, and, you know, while you're at it, the notification bell. I'd very much appreciate that. Love you guys. I love everyone and appreciate all of you for just straight up watching my videos, not even liking or subscribing or hitting the notification bell, even though that is so much appreciated. It doesn't really matter. As long as you guys are enjoying and just having a good time and getting a good laugh and not being upset, because life's too short to be upset. So that's why I want you to have a fantastic day today. But if you can't have a fantastic day today and you're upset, that's okay. Have a fantastic day tomorrow. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let's get straight into it. First, we have WandaVision. The whole folding show was folding amazing. I loved it. 9-episode series. A lot of people were like, oh, this show's not gonna be good. Oh, saw the first 2 episodes and they're all in black and white. Oh, whatever. People complain about stuff too folding much. I've seen that, especially in Phase 4 in general, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. Literally, the show is so folding good. We find the story of a lover who just had to kill her significant other. What the false? That is so false up. And then she had to go through her whole life of her trauma and her grieving and just everything, and just that emotional trauma is folding awful, and she had to relive it and find her powers and this and that, and just, oh my gosh, it's folding great. But the whole storyline with Vision and him being dead and him not even getting a funeral at the end of Endgame, it was just, it was very sad. Jimmy, Darcy, and folding Monica were folding great to have on the show. They were funny, they were interesting, they were fun. The dynamic of them working together was folding crazy. Just, I don't know, just to see them back, Darcy and Jimmy Woo back, and then Monica coming back from Captain Marvel when she was a little girl. That was folding great, and it just worked so well. And I was just very pleased with the show, and I'm glad it was a 9-episode. I don't know how I feel about the 6-episode thing. Also, the ending where Wanda figures out that she's the Scarlet Witch and she's got all this power, and then she can bring back her kids and Vision and all that. It's so interesting, sets up Multiverse of Madness perfectly to be a folding great villain. Let me get to that a little bit later, but I folding love that. 2 things, White Vision, I don't know where the fold he went. My guess is he's going to be setting up a Young Avengers team, and he's going to recruit them all into this team, and they're going to be doing stuff because that's what happens in the comics. But I could be totally wrong. I don't know where he was in folding Multiverse of Madness or folding anywhere. He hasn't shown up. I don't know where he's going to show up. I'm very confused. And then the villains weren't bad. Hayward was pretty interesting, and so was Agatha. It wasn't a bad folding, like, set of villains, but they weren't, like, the next level, which is what we always expected. We just got Endgame, so that's, you know, we're spoiled. We're spoiled. I think that's why people complain about Phase 4 so much, is because we're spoiled from Endgame and No Way Home and stuff like that. They were good villains, and just because we didn't get Mephisto doesn't mean it was bad. I totally believe Mephisto is going to show up, and I still think he can eventually at one point, but I don't think yet, and I think it was fine that he didn't show up, yeah, it's a very, very good show, and I was really happy with it. And then we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This show was just meh all the way around. There's a lot of good parts, the message is great, but it's a superhero mess that gets the message of the story translated so awfully. John Walker, when we first saw him, everyone hated him. Sending death threats, though, uncalled for. But no, I think his character is going to get more and more complex as we go on into the Thunderbolts and everything else, and I'm really folding excited to see him. Sam and Bucky's friendship is folding awesome. It's funny, it's serious, it's emotional. It's everything you could have wanted from the show. I feel like there was a missing storyline because this big actress got casted for this important character that's connected to Carly, and it was one of her main causes, you could tell. It doesn't really get explained well. She had tuberculosis, that was it. It felt weird because they were stealing medicine in the first episode, and we're like, what, or the first or second, I can't remember, but it just was weird, and I think they changed it because of COVID. There was a vaccine storyline, and they didn't want to mess with that, and I get that, that's fair, but it just didn't translate well. Zemo, I don't really know what to say. Awesome, funny, the little dance scene, great. You gotta love it. But in the end, it just, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. I was rooting for Fallen John Walker. I should not be rooting for John Walker, because Fallen Carly Morgenthau is Fallen corrupt, and she's now going from just, like, trying to help people to blowing up stuff and saying to kill anyone that gets in their way. That's not what you want. That is a terrorist. You don't want to be a terrorist. You want to be a good message. And then Fallen Cap, Sam Wilson, goes on a tangent about Fallen having to do something about this very Fallen, very, very complex topic, and he brings up a totally different subject. And yes, it is comparable, but it's not clear enough. The translation of the two topics do not collide well. But what I'm saying is that they're very different. So, like, you can't compare that stuff, and you can't use that as just something to do, because he just said do better. You can't just do better. That's not how it works. It's a little more complex than that, and he doesn't provide anything to do. I don't know. It was just weird. It's not his fault. It was just a weird storyline. It just didn't work out. And then he said, don't call them terrorists. They blew up stuff and tried to kill a bunch of Fallen government officials. I don't think that's good. I don't think you should be congratulating those people. Yes, you can honor them as a symbol, yes, but those actions of those people, I don't know if we should be doing that. People need to Fallen realize, hey, people are struggling, and just because you're chilling doesn't mean everyone else is chilling. So let's help people out. Let's Fallen show empathy and all that, and I can get more into depth with this, but there's no point. You guys know. I don't have to Fallen say it. You Fallen understand. But the problem is, they tried to jumble it with this weird superhero storyline, and it just didn't collide well. It didn't work. It did not work for me. And it might have worked for you, and I'm glad it did, but it just did not work for me. And now we have Loki. I could talk about Kang, but we're going to be talking about Kang a lot in my Phase 5 and 6 video, so I won't ramble about him a lot, but yeah, definitely a little bit. Loki emotionally in this Fallen show was just Fallen awesome. Just his love for Sylvie and just everything, his Fallen showing of his whole life in the first episode was so Fallen sad and emotional, and it just made me love his character even more. And in the beginning, I didn't really have a connection with Loki a lot, but after, I Fallen love him. And to bring up Sylvie again, she was Fallen great. She was just a Fallen dope character, and I love their connection, and I don't think it's weird. I don't think them falling in love is weird at all, but that's just me. You guys can think it's weird. You guys can think they're, like, kind of like siblings thing, or he's falling in love with himself, and I think that's kind of like the message. You should love yourself. That's a good thing, but to that extent, I get how it's weird, but I don't see it as that. And just watching every single episode and theorizing after was Fallen awesome. I got a Fallen headache thinking about the multiverse and just everything, Kang and Goliath and Fallen, oh my gosh, all the Lokis, and my head just exploded. Mobius was the Fallen GOAT. We Fallen love Mobius. Mobius better get his Fallen jet ski in season 2 or I'm done. And I Fallen freaked out when Kang showed up in the last episode and just talked the whole movie, or the whole show. Fallen, I can't talk, but it was just Fallen awesome. He's so creepy and he just goofy, you know, jumping around and doing this, and I was like, fall to you. Next big bad, and I'm not following with that. Also, when I first watched this show, I was talking to my now girlfriend at the time. She was not, and then we stopped talking. It's a whole thing, and I don't feel like getting into it, and you guys don't have to Fallen hear it, and I don't feel like getting into it, and that's my Fallen private business, and you don't need a Fallen know. However, I used to tell her about it, and she just knew how much I loved it, and after we stopped talking, she watched it and I watched it, and we both kind of like latched onto it, but we weren't talking, and it was just, I was sad, but I also just loved it so much that it didn't matter, and I kind of just fell in love with that show, and it was just amazing. But then when we started talking again, she told me she was watching the show, and she was thinking of me, and it was just, it's very sweet, and so I Fallen absolutely love the show even more now, so I have a personal connection with it. But I'm just so excited to watch season 2 with her, and, yeah, pretty great. And then we have Black Widow. Good movie. Nothing really good, nothing really bad. Taskmaster was meh, could have been way better. I wish she had more connection with Black Widow, but yeah, whatever. Dreykov was Fallen great. I really loved him. Just the Fallen dynamic of him, like, trafficking all these Fallen girls, and then Fallen put him in the Red Room, and him just the insanity of that's false up. Talking about the Red Room, I expected more. I thought it'd be shown more. I thought Black Widow's training would be shown more. Nothing really happened. But the intro was folding absolutely fantastic. The folding cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit was folding great, as the trafficking of the girls and the whole folding Red Room sequences, and just, oh, it was just so good. I don't know what it was. It was scary. And, oh, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just folding fantastic and scary and gritty, and I don't know, it was folding amazing. Red Guardian, funny, great dad folding dynamic, and just fantastic. And Yelena was folding dope. I can't wait to see her in future projects, probably Thunderbolts, and just, oh, I'm so excited. But this movie should have came out a while ago, folding when Civil War came out, when it took place. Would have been way better, and I just felt so disconnected, because Nat was already dead at this point, so what was the point? It was weird. And then we have What If. The whole folding series feels very disconnected from the MCU, and I think that's the folding problem. And that's not really a problem. It's just fun. I liked it, but I didn't love it. You know, there were some episodes I was like, meh. But the Star-Lord episode was folding great. Episode 4, 5, 8, and 9 were awesome. And I just love it so much. Episode 4 was Doctor Strange losing his heart instead of his hands, and him losing Christine over and over again. And this is the reason why I love Strange so much, is because of that relationship and the fact that he'll do anything to fix it, and he is so talented in so many ways, and he will do anything to fix any problem, and he just wants to be just purely good, but he's not, and that's the folding whole great thing about his character. And the best part is that he can do all this stuff and still, in the end, not being okay, and that's the saddest part about it. He can still be broken in the end, and that's so folding sad. Episode 5, though, was zombies, and it was just folding fun. Spider-Man brings up Uncle Ben. That's a whole folding different thing, but it was just a fun episode. I just loved it, and I can't wait for the new show that comes out in Phase 5, and should be great. And the ending of the show is folding fantastic, with Ultron Infinity just folding, going insane, and fighting Uatu the Watcher, and just, oh, just everything about it was awesome. And Season 2 should be folding great. So, yeah, I'm excited. And then we have ShangChi. Folding, great job for Marvel. They do such a good job with introducing diversity without it being about diversity, and that's not what it should be about. You should just have a folding... Simu Liu is just a folding cool dude, and folding Shang-Chi is just a folding cool character, and he's interesting, and the story is just about folding how different people deal with grief, and everyone in that folding Shang-Chi's family is how they deal with grief. When Wu is folding about trying to get, like, not revenge, but you get the point, like, trying to make up for that. Xialing? I think it's Xialing. His sister deals with grief by hiding away and separating herself from the family and trying to deal with the stuff in anger, doing her stuff by herself, and that's not also a good way. And neither is Shang-Chi, is separating himself and always feeling that guilt inside of helping kill the folding person that killed his mother, and that's not folding good on your conscience, and then being away from his dad, and just, it was a folding mess, but it was such a beautiful story, and I loved it so much. And just so happens that Simu Liu is Asian. It just so happens, because it's not about him being Asian, it's about him being a cool dude, and just having that, and just having someone to be like, just say a kid is Asian, and they can be like, hey, that guy's also Asian, and you know what? He's folding dope. That's cool. Hey, that could be me. You know, that's the whole folding point. But it's not, they don't make the story about them being Asian. Yes, there's stuff about Asian culture, but that's not the point of the movie. It's the point that Simu Liu is a cool guy, and so is Shang-Chi. And that's the folding great thing, and I'm so folding happy. And I feel like everyone should be able to enjoy a movie with someone else that is not their same gender or the same race or whatever, because they should just be a cool person and be relatable. And that's what Shang-Chi was, and I fucking love this movie so much. It's so good. I didn't even get to the fight scenes yet. The fight scenes were awesome. The choreographed folding fight scenes, the bus scene, and his fight against the guy with the painted face. I forget his name. He doesn't have any, like, talking lines, so yeah. But that was folding great, and it was funny, and it was just such a beautiful story. And then we have Eternals. I folding love this movie. You can folding hate it. All you folding what? I really don't care. This was a folding good movie. If you expected a bunch of superheroes fighting, that's not what this movie was, so you were upset. And I understand that, and you don't have to like this movie, but I folding loved it. I like long movies, but that's just me. I just love the story of this big family coming together, and all the hatred, and just all the storylines working so well, at least for me, together. Each individual character, I felt you just had such a good connection with, and if you weren't able to find that connection, I understand that, but I felt a connection with almost all the characters, except for Sprite. I liked what they tried to do with her character, but I don't think it worked. But I see what they tried to do, and I like that, and I respect it, and you have 10 characters, so it's hard to get a folding good storyline for all, or a perfect storyline for all of them. Every single one was folding good. It was just some were better than others, and that's just gonna happen. That's just how life goes. But it was just folding great. Oh, and just the cinematography, just all the shots and all the places that they were beautiful. The Celestials folding coming in. Oh my gosh, Arishem and Tiamat and just everything. They're so folding scary and beautiful, and just I can't wait to see what happens with them next. And then Dane Whitman folding, getting the Black Knight folding. Ebony Blade is gonna be folding awesome. He's probably gonna show up in Blade. And also Blade recruiting him, Mahershala Ali. I can never pronounce his name because I'm dumb. And speaking about all the other Eternals, Harry Styles. I don't know, man. I hope it's great. I don't know. I feel like it'll be fun though. We'll have to see. I feel like he'll do a good job, and people will be genuinely surprised at how good of a job he does. Or it's gonna be a dumpster fire. So we'll have to see. Let's go, Harry. And then we have Hawkeye. I folding loved the show. Just the Christmas vibes of it was folding. It was just, I don't know. It just made it feel more fun, and just I don't know. I just folding loved that it was in Christmas. It just made it feel so special, and just Clint as a dad, and it just made me love his character even folding more. I didn't really connect with him at all throughout in the Infinity Saga, so I'm folding excited that we got more of him, and I folding actually connected with the character, and I just really like him now. And they definitely made me feel the weight of Ronan, of the folding connection with him and Nat, and giving Nat a more memorial in this folding show than in Endgame, and that's what happened in Endgame. Vision and Nat didn't really get a proper memorial, but Tony did, and it just felt weird. So I'm glad those two shows definitely approached that subject. But back to Ronan, it was just folding scary, just seeing him kill all those people, and it was just, wow. I just felt the weight of it in the show, and so did Clint, and it's just scary to watch that happen. Also, Kate Bishop, fun, amazing, just awesome. She was folding funny too, and it was just, I don't know, it's just fun watching a young character as a younger person just be a superhero. I just think that's fun and awesome, and I loved it. It was just, her character's so good. And I love the dynamic of Clint being all serious and whatever, and then Kate Bishop was like, "Hey Clint, how? Oh my!" And then she's like meeting him, and she's loved him ever since she was like a little folding kid, and I don't know, I love that. Yelena, Echo, and Kingpin all being in this, fantastic. I think they executed Yelena really well. I really love that, but Echo and Kingpin, I don't think they did a really good job, and I think they could have done better. And this show starts to lack off towards the end, because you have that Kingpin set up, and you wait till the last episode to show him, and it was just weird. But I hope they do a good job with him and Echo in Echo the show and the Daredevil show. And then we have Moon Knight. I folding love the show. It's my favorite one out of all of them. It's a folding S tier. It's just so good. Every episode was folding fantastic, and it just got better and better and better and better. And I loved how it addressed men's mental health and just mental health in general. I love that so much. The music was folding great, and just you get to see how troubled Mark, Steven, and Jake were. Jake Lockley, folding great. Post-credit scene, love that. But just to see how troubled he is, and just the traumatic experience with his mom, it's just awful. And the way that Steven is the folding good part of him that did not get to see his bad traumatic experiences with his mom, and Mark had to deal with that, and it was just so awful. And I love that you never have a good narrator, and you folding don't know who to trust and what's real and what's not, and my mind was blown every week, and it was just so amazing. And I love thinking about the shows and movies I watch. I love just to think and think and think and think and theorize, and it's just awesome. The horror aspects of this was folding awesome. The fighting of the Jackal and just the big Khonshu versus Amit fight was folding awesome, and Arthur Harrow being introduced in the first folding scene of the show with the broken glass in his shoes just to show his threat level was awesome. The trippiness was folding great. And finally, Khonshu, Tarawet, and folding Layla were fantastic. I loved all of them. Layla folding the Scarlet Scarab, she looked folding dope in that suit, and she's just such a good character to match Mark, and I just love how they're both just so folding cool. Great folding show. And then we have Multiverse of Madness, which I folding really was hyped for, and then I was disappointed because it was just a really good horror film and it was a great story for Wanda. But for Doctor Strange, it was just to prove he was a good guy, because folding, duh, did you watch the first Doctor Strange? Of course he's a folding good guy. Yes, he's folding broken and a folding mess, duh. But he's just folding, doing his best, and then he gets hurt and broken every time, and it's just so sad to watch, but he just does his best, and it's just folding heartwarming, and he just tries to do everything he can just to be a good person. His folding story and his relationship with Christine is folding great, and I love that he gets closure in this with Christine. Is in the folding line that he'll love her in every universe is so folding sweet, and it's I love that line. But the fact that he can just only be okay and not actually ever just be with Christine is so sad and awful, but he folding lives with that, and he's the contrast to Wanda, and that's why Wanda's the villain, because she cannot live without Vision, and she becomes the villain, and it's just so folding sad to watch. But she turns a little folding crazy with the Darkhold, and I just feel like this movie was just when it wasn't about horror, it was just about giving us fan service and this and that and just whatever, and Patrick Stewart and Jimmy Woo as Mr. Fantastic, and it just was not. It was not it. It was just, okay, sure, thanks, and then they get killed off. And I wish I hated them more. I wish they were more mean and not just misunderstood. I wish they just, like, were actually, like, bad, and they did bad stuff, and then Wanda could wipe them out and be even worse, and then we could be like, thank you, but dang, or really, really good, and then we were upset that they were dead, but they weren't good because they kept Doctor Strange out, and obviously he's good, and it's just, I don't know, it was just weird. Wong was great in it, Wanda was great, all the villains were great, all the Doctor Strangers were great, America Chavez was great. I just loved all the characters. It just, the story didn't really blend well. Overall, as a movie called Multiverse of Madness, we didn't get many universes to go through. I think that was supposed to be the fun of it, and it just didn't work out well. So, meh. And that's the end of part 1. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can catch the part 2 of this video, because yeah, you might want to stick around because we got some great Marvel content coming to you soon. So yeah, we're going to be covering phase 5 and 6 also really soon. Yeah, a lot's been announced and I'm ready to cover it. But try your best to have a fantastic day. Really, if you're not, it's okay. Those days happen. Those days happen, but we brush it off. We brush it off. We're good. We're fine. Trust me. It's gonna be okay. If you can have a fantastic day today, have a fantastic day tomorrow. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya!